talking about another very important and interesting aspect of sacred geometry, concentric circles. So one of the truly wonderful things about sacred geometry is that you can actually see it all around you. When you have the eyes, when you can see, you can see. And when you can see, it's all around us, in us, through us, everywhere, at work, omnipresent, omnipotent. It's a very, very beautiful thing. You want to see a clear manifestation of sacred geometric principle called concentric circles? Toss a rock up in the air and let it fall into a pond. Kadoosh! Concentric circles. Very beautiful. There are numerous examples of concentric circles in nature. Tree rings are a perfect example. Tree rings are like a slow motion version of this waveform phenomena. Each ring marks the passage of an entire year. Another trip around the sun, another ring, another trip around the sun, another ring. It's like a language, like the tree is talking to us, telling us its life history in these rings, like chapters of rings. And the rings of Saturn. Now there is a spectacular, monumental manifestation of concentric circles. And the solar system itself. All the planets falling around the sun in more or less concentric circles. Beautiful. So how does this natural possibility of concentric circles relate to this language called sacred geometry? It traces right back to nature's first pattern. If we count out one radius at a time from any of the centers of nature's first pattern, we find the possibility of concentric circles expanding all the way into infinity, all sharing the same center. The first circle out from the center in nature's first pattern is traditionally called the germ of life. The second circle is called the seed of life. The third circle is called the flower of life. And the fourth circle is called the fruit of life. As they expand, each of these four circles share specific qualities, and yet each holds ever more potent sacred geometric possibilities. The germ of life creates numerous graphic possibilities, including a six-pointed star, the hexagon, and equilateral triangles, two of which form the archetype known as the Star of David. It even brings forth the famous peace sign. The seed of life, the second concentric circle, holds all the possibilities of the first plus more, including the famous archetypal form known as the yin-yang, perfect symbol of duality in general, and specifically projective and receptive energy, also known as gender energy. The seed of life also holds the famous Kabbalistic graphic known as the Sephirothic Tree of Life, which is so multifaceted that it can be contemplated for lifetimes and has been. This brings us to the extremely important flower of life, the third concentric circle from our chosen center. Drunvalo Melchizedek is the being who is most responsible for bringing this form into the contemporary mainstream. Of course, it's always been an archetype of sacred geometry, but he actually brought it forward. I met Drunvalo around 1990 and became his immediate fraternal friend, as both of us had spent countless hours contemplating and meditating on sacred geometric archetypes. Drunvalo believed with all his heart that the flower of life, the third concentric circle, was the key form, the key archetype of sacred geometry, and then that was the thing that everybody should be studying in a primary way. On the other hand, I just as firmly believed that it was two circles of common radius and the Vesica Piscis, which was the root form. And that's where the real key study was. But he said to me, very sincerely, he said, I understand why you would feel that way, Charles. I really do. But trust me, it's the flower of life. Well, I wasn't totally convinced, but on the other hand, I respected Drumlo so much that I couldn't argue with him. But now, I'm seeing that we are both right at the same time. Because, in essence, each of these archetypes is a layered possibility of the same sequential geometric energy, and each, in its own way, points to the transcendental nature of this pattern, nature's first pattern. The original circles in nature's first pattern both naturally enlarge in size and naturally reduce in size, creating a never-ending circular and spiraling dance of contraction and expansion all the way into both macrocosmic and microcosmic infinity. The infinite matrix of two-dimensional sacred geometric possibilities is the root conceptual architecture of the universe. The fruit of life is a flat plane, a conceptual plane, and yet it hints at the third dimensional plane. That is truly significant. As we expand our radius of comprehension into the fruit of life, we discover the famous graphic known as Metatron's cube, an illusion of the three-dimensional platonic solids, the tetrahedron, the hexahedron, the octahedron, the dodecahedron, and the icosahedron are all to be found inside this one graphic form known as Metatron's cube. That's really mind-boggling. In fact, Metatron's cube is so significant that it deserves its own chapter, so that's coming up. Keep an eye out for that one. As these concentric circles continue to expand beyond the fruit of life, ever more complex possibilities evolve. I have created thousands of mandalas and graphics based on the archetypes of sacred geometry, both directly and indirectly connected concentric circles. And these experiments have proven to me that this study is literally limitless. I know by direct experience, when we concentrate our visual attention on the perfect, omnipresent, omnipotent principles of the universe known as sacred geometry, we set ourselves up for the ultimate possibility of human experience. Profoundly personal spiritual intimacy with unity consciousness. The all. It's very obvious there's really a lot of fascinating mathematical possibilities, scientific possibilities within this thing called sacred geometry. But that's not what I'm primarily interested in. I make mandalas to get closer to Spirit and to allow Spirit to guide me and teach me through this language. That's what I do. And I have such profoundly beautiful and wonderful experiences that I just am forced to try to share this. It's that good, folks. It's better than sex. Well,